a freaking IKEA chair. There is a filmmaker out there that has an opportunity to tap into what is exactly happening in the zeitgeist in America. We are connected, and there are things that we have, anxieties we have about everything happening in our country right now. And the filmmaker that can tap into that will make a huge blockbuster hit, because what that person is going to be doing is tapping into how everyone is feeling right now. And we all share some common feelings about what's happening in the world, whether it's about the lack of trust in our institutions, whether it's looking at the mainstream media and thinking, are they really telling us the truth? Are they really telling us what's good for us? Or are they trying to manipulate us to make us feel a certain way? Do these institutions have our best interests at heart? What's happening with our youth? There's a mental health crisis with our youth. And there are people, I believe that social media is, when it's really studied, will be determined to be worse than smoking in terms of its detriment to our health. There are a lot of things in the zeitgeist right now, and any filmmaker that can tap into what is something that's right in front of our faces, that they can tap into and make a film about that. Tap into that as kind of a theme or subtext to a story would be incredible. And films in the 70s, in the 1970s, used to do it. That was the last great era of American filmmaking. And we need to get back to that. It's really sad that, you know, big studios used to make those movies. By the way, big studios used to make those movies that were tapped into the zeitgeist, that were edgy, that took risks. They didn't care about making a ton of money at the box office. It was always like, we make a profit, that's cool. We make more than we spent, fine. And they weren't spending crazy budgets for these films. You know how much the budget was for the original Star Wars? $10 million. There needs to be a new movement in American cinema of truly American films that tap into what Americans are feeling at this moment, the shared feelings that we all have about the state of our world, about climate change anxiety. I really feel for young people growing up because they've lost a sense of purpose and hopefulness. And some of our greatest leaders used to espouse messages of hopefulness. They used to say things that were hopeful and positive and optimistic and say, you know what? We have this crisis, but guess what? We're Americans. We rally around each other and we will solve this problem. And now what we have are forces that are trying to manipulate us to feel a certain way and divide this country. It's no different than the plan of the evil Ming the Merciless in Flash Gordon, who kept the kingdoms of Mongo divided and fighting amongst each other to just deflect from what the real threat was, until a savior from Earth, a former quarterback from the New York Jets named Flash Gordon, came to Mongo and showed the leaders of the various kingdoms of Mongo that if they unite, they can defeat the real threat, which was right in front of their faces. Now, I know that sounds ridiculous, but that was part of the message of the original Flash Gordon comic strips from the 30s. Was there are forces trying to keep us divided amongst each other, to keep us fighting and hating each other, and divide us by this, and you're this thing and this, and no, we're all Americans. I see you, you're an American. I'm tired of the things trying to divide us.
See, one movie came out last year that speaks to what you're saying, and that was Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah. Top Gun Maverick.
One single movie.
And you know how that movie was promoted? Not one time was the word diversity used to promote that movie. And guess what the movie was? It was organically diverse. So much stuff is just organically diverse because it just and then they never use diversity to promote it. I think that's a turnoff to people, because if that's the best thing you can say about your movie is it's diverse, it's probably not a very good movie and not a very good TV show. You know what? The TV show, the Netflix show Beef, which I think is fantastic. I've only seen the first 2 episodes. I will binge the whole thing. You know what? I guess you could say it's diverse, but it's mostly Asian driven, and I don't care. I'm wrapped up in the story.
Yeah. We're allowed to tell stories. Asian Americans are allowed to tell Asian American
but what I'm
stories.
saying is it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Absolutely. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of like, this matters. No, it doesn't. Yeah. Stephen Yoon, who's Korean, by the way, you're wrapped up in his story. He's struggling. He's trying to make a go of it. He's at Home Depot, has this minor incident with someone in a parking lot that drives the whole show. It's so well done. I don't look like Stephen Yoon. I don't care. I care about a story where I can identify with the problems that the character's going through. This madness of identity politics dividing us has to end.
See,
it's stupid.
The thing that we've gotten away from is this idea of what does it mean to be an American? You know, me growing up in school in an all-white community, you know, to me, it was impressed. These are the values of Americans: freedom, this idea of the melting pot, equality. You know, these are the things that unite Americans together, no matter what their skin color is. We've gone away from that, and now we are so race obsessed that this obsession is essentially creating a war between all the races. You know, there's no consistency. There's nothing. It's not like all the non-whites are banding together. Even there, we're trying to divide. We're trying to continually divide this nation. It's infuriating. It's frustrating.
There are not enough people pointing this out, and I've seen even amongst friends of mine, their posts on social media are just incredibly divisive. It's also condescending as hell, and
by the way, do you know what foreigners say about Americans?
What do they say?
They question, why is America so obsessed with race? You know, they see us. They all the things that we talk about is not happening. Okay, Canada, Great Britain, yes, but it's not happening in the rest of the world. Asia is not having this race problem. Well, Africa is not having this race problem. South America is not having this race problem.
You were telling me, Alan, that because I really don't watch mainstream news anymore. I just don't. I just find it's just propaganda at this point. But you told me, we had a conversation once. You were telling me that you mostly watch international news about America is more accurate about American news talking about America.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, because in America, there's a filter that all news has to pass through. Even Fox News. You know, and you're just wanting to get a fresh perspective from someone outside, someone who has not taken a side, and someone who can look at America objectively. And the only way you can do this is go outside.
You know what? Do not support people who divide, and call it out. When you see people using language that's divisive or giving you this condescending speech about, you know, usually it's from people with no real life experience, or which I think they're idiots. It's point it out, call it out, start calling it out. We have to call it out for what it is. It's divisive.